I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're diving into Johnny Crystal. It is an amazing book written by a terrific author and a wonderful broadcaster by the name of Joe Roberts Caputo. This fascinating novel follows the life of Johnny Crystal, a small man with gigantic accomplishments and an extraordinary story. Join us as we explore the unique narrative crafted by this wonderful author who began his journey of writing at the age of 75 and has penned more than 20 books since. That is quite an accomplishment, and all of them are top notch. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Joe, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much, Logan. Great to be with you.
This book, Johnny Crystal, is quite novel, and it's a wonderful novel. Tell us a little bit of the story of Johnny Crystal.
Well, first off, it was rather a kind of a bizarre way. I don't know where ideas come from exactly, but this particular book came because for some reason, a name, Johnny Crystal, appeared in my head. And I said to myself, wow, first off, I don't know a Johnny Crystal, but I said, wow, that's a kind of a cool name.
Yeah.
I said, gee, maybe we could do something with that. And then I had to decide what was he and who was he? And then I decided Johnny Crystal had to be small, not little, not tiny, but small. And he was 5 feet tall, 126 pounds, and stayed that way. And from there, I had to say, okay, I have to compensate somewhere along the line. So this guy is borderline genius, incredibly handsome with chestnut hair, chiseled features, and he's got all the money in the world eventually because he's so bright. But he's very strong, incredibly strong. I call it circus strong. Yeah. He's got two brothers, twin brothers. They're 6 feet tall. He's 5 feet tall, but they don't arm wrestle with him because he's just too tall, too tough. So anyway, we kind of got that feeling about him being small, but then he had his ingenuity, he had his intellect, and he had his humanity. And those things combined to make him a multimillionaire by the time he was 30.
Amazing. Amazing. What a unique character. Started out with just the ideation of the name, and then you went from there. And I think it's great. Have you envisioned Johnny Crystal's story as a movie, perhaps?
I don't know. I don't think in those grandiose terms. I really don't. I would imagine it could be quite interesting because the characters, most of my novels are character driven, obviously. And one in particular is the woman, Annabella Rose Turturro. And that in itself was kind of a nice little vignette when he visits this supermarket, going to buy a peach. And the woman says, no, not that one. And she eventually has coffee with him. And in the process, they meet this woman, very big woman, but she's sweating it in the kitchen, rubbing pots and pans. But she makes the best pies in the world. She gets fired, and he decides to help her. And when she introduces herself, she says, my name is Annabella Rose Turturro, but you can call me Bella. And he said, no, I will never call you Bella. Annabella Rose Turturro like trips over the tongue like poetry. So it's always going to be Annabella Rose. And I thought that was kind of a nice touch.
I like that. I like that. And I got a feeling your eloquence as a broadcaster influenced that dialogue there a little bit. Do you feel your work, both on the Travel Channel and in broadcasting in general, influences the way you write and the characters you create?
I think so. Yeah. It's almost inevitable that it's going to have an effect. When I was on the Travel Channel, I was the only one. We had a 4-man crew that would go to various golf outing venues, and could be the French Riviera, could be Scotland, could be anywhere. But I was the only one that knew anything about golf. So when I had to play the signature hole at a course with the pro, I had to just, invent questions and answers. So it was all touch and go, but it was easy because I'm an avid golfer, or was.
Mhm.
And so I asked him questions that would help my game. And in fact, it helped others as well. But it was all just ad lib. It was just,
Yeah.
kind of, and I think that's where the radio really did help.
Exactly. It's having that gift for gab, being able to talk about anything at any time and filling the air. Sometimes you just got to fill the air, right?
Absolutely. And when you're a disc jockey, you are you really got a flow going while your show is. You got, well, back in the day we had turntables. Now they don't, but we had turntables. We had to worry about coffee and stuff, and so you really like juggling a whole bunch of stuff at the same time. But by the same token, you don't want to repeat your ad libs. You don't want to
Yeah.
fall into that gets to be too. You have to be inventive a little bit more.
You don't want to be a hack. You don't want to be
No,
saying the
you
same
really don't.
thing every time the weather comes up. You the same time you spin a
Yeah.
record. So you were spinning records on the turntable. You were ripping and reading from the AP Wire or Reuters or whatever it was back in
Yeah.
the day. And it was a whole different game because nowadays everybody's just on a boring computer keyboard like this.
Yeah.
But you were manually doing it. Um, Tell us a little bit about your broadcasting career. Where did you start? I know you said you went to broadcasting school. Do you remember your
Well,
first gig? I'm sure you do.
well, here's the thing. I went to school um, to be an auto mechanic. Actually, I graduated Brooklyn High School of Automotive Trades, valedictorian. Thank you very much. Um, kind of a low bar there. It was that much. However, I graduated, and in that summer, I decided I'd try to make some money before possibly opening a gas station. Who knew? I was 17. You don't
Yeah,
know what you're doing at 17, trust me.
exactly. Yeah.
And so my father had a friend who had a masonry contracting business. I went to work for them, and I'm hauling bricks and mortar and stuff like that. And it's kind of funny because all the guys were Italian,
Hmm.
and they would grunt some request, and I didn't know it was bricks, mortar, blocks, what. So I'd load the wheelbarrow with a little bit of everything and hustle it over there. Anyway, one day I was tossing some mortar from one scaffold over my head to a scaffold above, and I fell off the scaffold, hurt my back, was laid up for a couple of weeks, and nothing broke, but I, obviously had to take it easy. And my father, of all people, because he was from Italy, born there in Naples, he comes in one day and out of the blue he says, I heard about this radio school on the radio. Think you should go. I said, Pop, I mean, you know, maybe I should go to Hollywood and be a star, something like that. It
Right.
was so outrageous. But anyway, long story short, went for 6 months, got a job in Louisiana and then Texas, and for 50 years, didn't have that many jobs in the course of the 50 years. And that was it. It's a little surreal, though, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. It's a blessing. I mean, one, you're blessed that you fell off that scaffolding because that brought your father to thinking, what else could you do? Nice that you had a father who was so encouraging of you, pushing you in a direction. He obviously recognized you had a beautiful speaking voice
Well,
and thought you'd be.
he did say this. He did say, you talk a lot. So maybe that was it. I'll tell you one little thing that really got me though. And I said, Pop, you know, what what made you think about this? He says, when I saw them carry you in from the car after that accident, he said, I almost cried.
Yeah,
And I said, this is not for him.
yeah,
He needs to be doing something better than this.
yeah.
And I'll never forget that.
That's beautiful. And from there, you lived a charmed life. I mean, I lived that life in part two, traveling from city to city to city, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I think there's nothing better than to get paid to be on air and live in different places, different cities that you never would have traveled to even.
No, it really, I sometimes felt a little guilty taking the money. I did, but I know what
Right.
you mean. Yes, I have been insanely fortunate because I never thought that I had anything unusual to offer. But somewhere along the line, people seemed to think that I was sincere enough or friendly enough or whatever it took. And very much being in the business that you are, that you can't really fake sincerity for too long before somebody really cops you.
Exactly. Yeah. I think Dustin Hoffman said you can't hide your insides.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
it's
about right.
for not for very long. It bubbles over, so people can figure out if you're the real deal or not. And of course, the icing on the cake for you, or the one of the pinnacles of your career, was this sweet job at the Travel Channel where you love golf, and then you sent to the most beautiful places on earth.
Well, here, this is a funny thing. I was doing some freelance work for a guy, and he's a little bitty guy from the Bronx. And he comes up to me and he said, I was thinking of doing a little show about improving the game of the average golfer.
Mhm.
And he said, my idea was that we go to a famous venue. There's a signature hole at every. Do you play golf?
No,
Uh, okay,
but
but
I understand enough about
all
it.
right. So there's a signature hole like at St. Andrews. It's the road hole, the 17th hole.
Mhm.
Anyway, every course has a signature hole. He says, what I think is we go there, you play that hole shot by shot with the pro at that course, all the time eliciting information about how to improve the game of the average golfer. I
It's a
said,
great idea for a show.
works for me. And so, of course, a lot of guys, as you know, come up with ideas and they don't come to fruition.
Right.
However, in this case, 2 weeks later, he sends me tickets. He wants me to go to Florida to interview, of all people, Sam Snead.
Wow.
Got to be
Wow.
one of the 10 most legendary golfers
Yeah,
of all time, right?
exactly.
So I'm sitting on, this is almost surreal because I'm sitting on Sam's veranda. He's got his straw hat on. And we're just chatting for about 40 minutes. And I said, Sam, you told me a lot about your game. Let's go and put some swings on it. And so we go out to the first tee, which is a par five. And I get up there. And I said, Sam, I'm sort of losing my drives to the right a little bit. So he reaches in and he said, Joe, let me take a look at that grip. And he makes my grip a little stronger. And he said, I'll try that. And so I swing, and of course it improved. And he
Right.
swings, and we go hold, shot to shot to shot.
Wow.
And that's the way it was. And then once the Travel Channel picked it up, they said, well, you need to go to the French Riviera, to Acapulco, to Scotland, Ireland, all these other different places. So
Right.
we had 30 shows. They're all on prime television, I believe. Now,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Well, I'll be looking for them on Prime TV for sure because
Oh,
I'd love to see you at work. The show sounds fantastic, so I will definitely look
but
in
you have to be forewarned. That was 1991, so I'm going to look a little different.
a little bit different, but I bet you you're no worse for the wear. I can tell that now, that's for sure. Congratulations on this book, Johnny Crystal. I know it's one of what, 23 books you've written now?
Well, 22, but I'm in the process of writing two at the same time right now.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Lots of great luck with those books. Folks at home who are watching, the book we've been talking about today is Johnny Crystal. It's a fantastic character. Joe came up with the name Johnny Crystal, and the rest just kind of fell into place. It's a fascinating novel that follows the life of a small man with gigantic accomplishments and an extraordinary story. It's a terrific read. Hollywood, if you're listening, turn this into a screenplay. It would be great. Joe, what an honor, what a pleasure, what a privilege speaking with you today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, it was my pleasure altogether, Logan. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time until next time on Spotlight.